Okay, all right. So yesterday we talked about how to use the very basics of a TI-84 calculator, and today we're going to do actually what we meant to do with a TI-84 calculator, which is to graph it. Okay, so all right, let's give it a try. Let's go. All right, so this is right where we left off yesterday. All right, with the TI-84 calculator. All right, so let's get those four things down, and then I'm just gonna try to find you some time to practice. If not, I'll let you practice again tomorrow. Okay, because I you really need to know how to use this. All right, because it's to your greatest advantage to do so. Okay, now so here we're back on the initial screen, right? So I turn my calculator on. Um, Now we're going to talk about the graphing itself. So the potential issues of graphing with a graphing calculator all comes down to really settings and whether or not you're inputting the equations correctly or not. So those are the two things we need to focus on. All right. So the first thing I want to demonstrate to you is this, right? And that is by going to the window button. So on the up top, there are five buttons, right? Right beneath the screen. On the left side, you see a window button. So if you click on that, let me demonstrate what this means. Okay, now this should be the factory default, okay, of the window function. All right, the settings, not the function, it's a setting. All right, so don't get too intimidated by all the crazy X and Y's and the crazy numbers. Let me just explain to you what a one window even does. So a window allows you to determine how much or how little of a graph you want to see. All right, so let me explain furthermore. So sometimes when you make a graph, right, the graph, the movement of the graph is very tiny. Okay, so meaning, right? Let's say, let me give an example. Okay, if I were to make a graph that looks something like this, all right, I think the best way to do it is to draw it. Okay, and I'll use different colors. Let's say we have to graph this, right? A line where y equals x squared. So this is the equation, right? The line comes out like a U shape, right? And on the surface, this looks fine, right? Here we got our arrows, right? And here we got a U-shaped graph. Sometimes when you graph something late, especially later down the line with sine, cosine, and tangent, sometimes you get lines that look like this. Okay? And sometimes, depending on the equation, the line looks even more ridiculous. And what I mean by that, it means that the numbers given on the equation is so large that you only see bits and pieces of the graph. Like for example, like you might see this, and then like it'll continue down here, and then you'll miss something here, and then it goes up. Okay, so the whole question is, well, what is this, right? Like there's a missing part here, and there's a missing part here. That's not good because you want to actually look at the shape of the graph. That's the question. So how do you get around that? Is you make the window smaller. You shrink the graph actually, so that when you graph it again, it looks tinier. Like it looks something like this, right? Because it's like it's almost as if what's the that game people play when you look really close at an object. All right, let me see if I could edit that to show you later. If you look really close at an object and you're too close, you can't tell what it actually is, right? But then that's the game, right? You have to guess something, right? So, and then if you zoom out, what do you see now, right? So that's what that is. That's what the function is doing. It's allowing you to zoom in and out of the object by changing the window, not the object itself. So let me demonstrate to you again, right? So what's the factory default on this setting, right? What is x min? It means it's the smallest x value, right? And x max means the largest x value. So what does that mean? Let me show you. Let's count, okay? Uh, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's negative 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's positive. That's the x. This is the x min, minimum x value. This is the x max, the maximum x value on the x-axis. Got that? All right, that's all that is. All right, it tells you how much you can shrink the window horizontally. All right, now what's the next number? So we talked about this. Scale. What is scale? Increments. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Meaning, if you change the scale to 2, it will skip every 2. It will skip every 2 lines. Okay, got that? That's all. Now, what about the next one? Y min is -10, right? Let me actually highlight this for you guys. Y min is -10, meaning the lowest y value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's the y min, the minimum y value in the window, right? What do you think the one up top is? Yeah, y max, and that's at +10. So that tells you how much you want to shrink the window of the calculator vertically. Okay, so if, for example, if you have a y max of 5, maybe this is like too much information, but it's fine, right? If you have a y max of 5 and a y min of 5, your graph's gonna come out looking like this. Let me use a different marker. The window comes out looking like this. Oh my God, I can't even draw a straight line. Okay, all right. I'm very distracted right now. So you're gonna get like that's what you're gonna see. You're gonna see this much of the graph. Okay, got that? That's what that means. All right. So what else? Y max, the scale of y. All right. Don't worry about the resolution and delta x, that sort of stuff. Trace step. Okay. We'll worry about that in a little bit. Now, how do you change these values? So let's say you want to change the y min to -100. Let's say you have a graph that's so big that you need to shrink the window so much that you could see the whole graph, right? Or actually expand the window, not shrink the window, opposite, expand the window, right? I could do, watch this, I could do -100, and then down here, I could do +100, so on and so forth. And then you can change the scale. That's it. So that's how you change these values. Now, I wouldn't recommend using -100 or +100 because that would make everything too small. So let me demonstrate to you what I mean. All right, when we actually use an equation. Oops, why did I do that? All right, 1, 0. Okay, so that's what the window function is. It comes in very handy later on down the line. Okay, all right. Okay, let's start graphing, okay? And that will cover the last 3 topics down here. All right, let's start graphing. So let's go to the mother of all linear equations, okay? So to graph, by the way, all right? To actually graph, go to all the way to the upper left-hand corner, y equals, all right? And you see here, now, don't get too confused with the y1, y2, y3, y4, y5. That just allows you to draw multiple lines on the same graph, which comes in handy when we're doing systems of linear equations, where we're going to draw 2 lines on the same graph. So right here in the blue line, right, we have y1, okay? And so let's say we just want to draw the graph, the equation y equals x. So remember where x was, right? Just this letter. So that's it. Now, let's tie this into the last thing that we've just done, which is by looking at the graph. So here's what you can do. You see all the way to the right, there's a button called graph, right? I'm gonna press that, it'll turn red anyways. Graph, this is the line, y equals x. Right? It's a perfectly diagonal line that goes through the origin, right? Because there's no y-intercept. The slope is just 1. So let's go back to the equation, right? Slope is 1, right? The invisible 1, so it's just 1x, right? Let's go back to the graph. That's the line. Now, let me demonstrate to you what the window function does, just to tie this in, right? Let's say I make the x min negative 100. And I go down and I make the x max 100, and I do the same thing for the y. Okay, so I'll make the y min negative 100. So I'm magnifying so in other words, I'm magnifying the window. Okay, or rather zooming out, actually. So it's the opposite. I'm zooming out by a factor of 10. Okay, I'm zooming out of the picture. Now let's go to graph again. Okay, because you can just go straight like that. So you don't have to press second quit like every time. So let's graph. All right, so you see how the window kind of zoomed out, right? So that's exactly what that is. Okay, so let's change the window again, because we don't really want this. Okay, let's see. Negative 10, positive 10. All right, let's go back to the graph. All right, much more normal. Okay, now if you want to see the table of values, you can see the table of values, right? You see right above the graph, it says table, second, graph, and you see the table of values, right? Look, when x is 0, y is 0. When x is 1, y is 1. When x is 2, y is 2. When x is 3, y is 3. That's it. So that's the table of values. So how is this useful? Just in case you actually, on the regions, they want you to graph this thing from scratch. With the calculator, you no longer have to use a table of values. You no longer have to construct a table of values by hand. The calculator does it for you. All right, that's the power of the TI-84. Now, let's see, what else do I have to talk to you about? That's it. Okay, all right, so let's do one practice question together. Okay, so let's try something a little bit easier. Let's just try like, how am I doing on time? I know I'm over it. Oh, not bad. Okay, all right. Let's try y equals to... Oh, hold on. Let me look at my window first. I just want to double check my window. Yeah, my window's good. Okay, so let's try x plus 3. Okay, that's it. Nothing crazy, right? Now, we can go to graph. So we have our line, right? And if you want to see the table values, oops, pressed the wrong thing, doesn't matter. Second table, look at the table values, right? When x is 0, y is 3, right? 1 plus 3, that's 4. 2 plus 3, that's 5. So on and so forth. Okay, so everything's nice and accurate. Now let's see, let's go back to the Y screen. Okay, so I think that's it today. Hold on, let me press pause and think to see if there's anything I need to add. Hold on. Okay, also remember, so if you want to plot a new line, right? Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to like just keep adding lines down here. Because what you're going to do is you're going to have a graph. Let me show you. Oh, what did I just do? Yeah, okay. So if I just keep adding it, I'm just gonna have more and more lines. But I don't want that. I don't want to, right now, at least, I don't want a graph full of lines, right? So what you have to do is you actually have to clear particular lines first. So here I'm gonna clear, and I'm gonna clear again, and then you can start over. So if you want to do x squared, all right, actually, let's try x to the third, okay? Just to have some fun. X to the third power, right? You can graph it. Now, sometimes it takes a while, okay? Right? You get like a kind of like an S-shaped curve, right? Now, if you zoom in, so meaning if we change the window, because I really want to emphasize the window part. Let's say I have -5, x max is 5, And then same thing here. So I want to like, I want to make the, I want to zoom in on the window instead of zooming out like we were just doing. Right, let's graph again. See how now we've zoomed in? All right. Now I could zoom in. Let's try this experiment. Let's try 2. Let's get really crazy. Because I want you to understand, what is this? Okay, let me quit. Maybe I can't put 2 into the window. Let's try again. Let's see what it says. I didn't do anything wrong there. All right. Okay. And then -2 and +2. All right, graph again. You see how we're getting closer and closer to the very middle of the graph? And so we're getting this part where they're forming the S shape, right? But not all the line going upwards, nor the line going downwards, okay? So that's what that is. Okay, let me change the thing. So I think that's it for today, because right now what we'll do is, why don't we go back to class, and then I would just let you practice. And then again, like I said, let's set up a place where I can answer your individual questions. Because, you know, if we were in the classroom right now, all I would do is just walk around the room and just answer everyone's questions and fix like any mistakes that they've made. And obviously, you know, can't do that in this setting. So let me clear everything because I don't want to have anything that's not clear. Okay, all right, second quit. Okay, back to the original screen. Okay, all right, so let's come back to class and let's practice some. Okay, all right, talk to you later. Bye.
OMG, that was so good.